Hey,
Hello.
hello. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Is it
So
just
glad you
me
could make
and
it.
you right now?
Do what?
Just you and I right now?
Yeah, there are 4 people signed up. I was just checking that. I was like, did everybody drop? And I was like, did something happen and everybody drop? There are 4 people signed up, and normally Ed and Deborah.
Yeah,
I
they're
always
pretty
mess them
regular.
up when I say them. Ed and Deborah are signed up, and they're normally here, but they're not, which makes me hope everything's okay with them, because they're like religiously here. So I'm like, I hope they're okay. But yeah, I was gonna give it just a minute or two more,
Yeah,
but
sure.
they
See if they
normally
show up.
they're here by now. What do you want to work on? Do you have anything? What's going on?
Well, a couple weeks ago I flared up my shoulder back doing
Yay! All the pull-ups.
all the pull-ups and the push strict press day. Even though I felt like I dialed it way back, it gets angry so much more easily. So anyway, I'm doing okay. I went to Next Level for the
Yeah.
first time, and
How
they
was that?
dry needled the hell out of me.
Sorry. I hate dry needling. I'm not
It hurts
opposed to it. I
though.
just literally hate it. Like,
Yeah,
it's just
no,
miserable.
it's miserable. Yeah, it's very painful and
Some
uncomfortable.
people get really good results out of it though. So
Yeah, I have in the past. That's what I've done it one time for my shoulder, and it was incredibly helpful. So,
okay. Okay. Well, that's good to know. And
but
any difference yet?
I'm still a little sore from all the dry needling.
Okay.
So,
So do
but yeah.
you
So,
want to roll on that, or do you want to avoid that?
I'm not sure.
Let's go with avoidance then, because I don't know the protocol for like if it's like and I'm sure it probably varies from person to person as to whether it's good to roll on it post or not, like, or if you should just let it kind of calm down on its own.
Yeah.
I don't know the protocol on that. So I'd say let's avoid it, and maybe we'll do low back, because sometimes low back helps
Yeah, sure.
as their opposing joint. Sometimes low back helps upper back. So
Sounds good.
um does the jerking movements or any like push presses anger it as much as strict press, or just strict press kind of?
The strict press and the pull-ups. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
How's the thoracic mobility going? Has it improved at all?
Not much. That was one of the chiropractors. He was like, "Yeah, yep, we got to work on that thoracic mobility." It's like you need a lot more mobility than that. So,
All right.
yeah, the thoracic mobility, and then internal rotation of my right shoulder, because I grew up playing softball.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yep, that's pretty common where you get extra mobility this way, and that takes away the interior." So we're working on both of those. So
Okay.
yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. Are you still going to the, I don't know his actual name, but online he's Ginger Beard. Did you go see
No,
Travis's guy? Did you go see him?
I saw him once in person, and I saw him online one more time, and I wasn't super impressed.
Okay.
It was okay, but
Not
yeah.
great.
No,
Okay.
I did really like the Next Level guy. I saw Steven at Next Level, and it was very professional. They had all sorts of great COVID precautions. Like I felt safer there, honestly, than I did with Colin.
Okay.
So, and he just seemed, I don't know, like more organized around his thought work and communication to me. And like they clearly like have a good regimen for how they help you.
They have a protocol.
Yeah, it felt
Yeah.
very clear.
Okay.
And
Well, that's good.
yeah.
I'm glad you liked it there, and hopefully you will continue.
Yeah, Jen
Yeah.
told me to go there. Jen was like, "Go to Next Level." She was like, "What are you doing about it?" And I was like, "Well, I'm doing this." She's like, "You need to be poked and prodded." I was like, "Yes, I probably do."
Yeah, the hands-on work can really make a difference.
Yeah.
But I find it's more finding someone who works with your personality, because I've had people I've referred to Next Level and I've never been to Next Level, but who I've referred there who have not
Not
liked
it.
it. They haven't liked the people, and maybe it's just the person they saw, because
Mhm.
it's a practice, it's multiple people.
Yep.
But it's hard to tell. So
Yep.
Find someone you like, and
Yeah.
that's who you should stick with. You gotta find a personality that meshes.
That's a good call. Yeah.
There are so many different ways to go about it all that it's more finding someone who, a technique and someone who fits with you is really just the way to do it. Otherwise, you don't want to go back and do the work.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Do you have balls? What do you have to roll on? Balls or roller, or what are you working with?
All the things.
You have ball.
I have all the things.
All the things. All the things. Okay. All right. If you have balls, let's use them, because that way we can get a little more specific on the low back and see if that'll open up the upper back.
Okay. Yeah, my low back was actually a bit sore last week, so that would.
Something we did last week set my low back off, that it was very unhappy with me for a couple days. It's not as terrible anymore, but it's still tight. I can feel it. Yeah. I think I'm still recovering from the storm. It's hard to say. That fetal position for a week straight is just not the best place to be. All right, let's recheck a forward fold. So simple, just feet about hip width distance apart, nice bend in the knees. We'll just come into a forward fold, let the head hang, not holding it up to look, but let the head actually go. Feel into the low back, all the way up, and maybe into the base of the skull. Get a sense for how far that pull goes. I've been on the computer a lot, so the base of my skull is quite tight right now. And then when you're ready, we'll come on up. And if you want to check something more active, we can check a few squats, just taking just a few up and down, getting a sense for where your squat is today. Finding a nice few rounds to get a sense for range of motion. And then we will grab for our balls. Do you have one or two? Do you have a stat? I forget what you have. Okay, perfect. Keep them toted for now. Keep them in their tote. We'll stack them up as such, and we'll set them on the right side of the low back. So I'm on the side of my spine. Balls are vertical, and it's essentially covering from my pelvis to my rib cage, at least for me, because I have a short torso. But setting the balls up, laying down on top of them, and we're just going to drop the butt to the ground and then swish the balls out to the side body and then swish them back through center. So just rolling the balls left, right, very kind of superficial roll, just warming up the tissue as we go side to side here. We'll get more specific in a minute, but just getting these top layers of tissue to kind of relax. All right, maybe one more switch out and back, and then we'll take it over to the other side. So just switch it over to the left. Same thing, round two, just on the left side of the spine. I like to let my butt drop towards the ground. And then swishing the hips so the balls roll out, and then the balls roll back through center. Very superficial here, just kind of focusing on warming the tissue up. All right, let's go for one more, just kind of out and back. And then we'll take the balls out, de-tote them now. Take them out of their tote. And you can stay lying down. I'm just gonna sit up to show you where we're going. If you set yourself up so that you find the base of the rib cage and then walk your fingers around, we're gonna go right at the base of the rib cage. So essentially where the upper back turns into the lower back, one ball on each side of the spine. We'll set the balls into place here. let the butt drop to the ground if that's comfortable. And with the balls in place, we're going to just take a few breaths into the rib cage. So on the inhale, I want you to focus on allowing the rib cage to expand backwards into the balls. So on the in-breath, feeling the rib cage expand behind you. And then on the exhale, feeling that rib cage release away from the balls. So on the in-breath, the pressure should become greater into the balls, and on the exhale, it should relax a little bit. Give yourself just 4 or 5 breaths to see, can you allow the rib cage to expand backwards? And if you're like me and wanting to use your upper traps for the breath, try to let your neck and upper traps relax. We'll take one more breath. All right, now depending on how sticky this is feeling for you, I'm going to give you a couple options. So if this is feeling quite tender in this spot, you can just hang out here and continue with the breathing. If it's feeling sticky and you want to stay right here, you can dig your heels into the ground and create a little scrub so that your body moves up and down from the back of the room towards the front of the room. That feels really good to me right now. When I go overhead, this area kind of gets a little tight because I tend to pop my ribs out. But if that's not quite doing it for you, you can once again come back to that hip swish left to right, and you'll essentially be underlining the rib cage. As you swish your hips left to right, the balls will move away from one another. As they move away from one another and get too far apart, just pick them up and bring them back through center. So those are kind of some options. Feel free to cycle through them or stick with one that feels really good and seems to be working today. Got the scrub, the swish, and the breathing.
What if one side is much more tender and tight than the other?
That is pretty normal. You can always take the ball out from the side that's not tight and really focus and kind of, like when I get this, my right side is my tighter side, tends to be tender. So I'll take the left ball out and kind of roll to the side a little bit. And that kind of isolates the ball into that erector group that tends to be just a knotted mess for me right there. And that is kind of painful but good for me. So that's an option. But if it's too tender to do that, sometimes working on the opposite side creates relief for the more tense side. So if that's too tender, take out the ball on the really tender side and go after the not so tender side, and you will get residual relief on the side that's super tender. Is that working? Is it feeling all right?
Yeah, it's like my left side is really locked up. It's not like it hurts, but it's like the ball like does the little roll over thing.
Kind of flops across it.
Where it gets stuck, if that makes sense. And then it like pops over the tissue because the tissue's so wound up.
Yes, yes. Okay, so on that left side, find the part that's like kind of lean the legs off to the side and kind of isolate into that, kind of right at the edge where you feel like it's going to swap across the muscle.
Yeah.
Kind of get the ball right in there. And then take a few deep breaths into the rib cage. And see if sitting with the ball in that place and breathing into it, can you create some internal movement with the breath? See if that helps to relax that area, maybe just a little bit. And once you've taken 5 or 6 breaths there, you can come back and see if it's dissipated a little bit. There will always be just a little bit of a thwop across those erectors. They're just a very ropey muscle group, but maybe the pain has dissipated some. Any change with that?
It's a little bit better, but it's still a big flop.
Still a big flop.
Much bigger than the other side. I hardly feel that at all.
Okay. All right. Let's bring them down and hit that muscle from the other side. So instead of being up by the rib cage, let's bring them down to the pelvis side. So if you find the top of your pelvis, walk around, replace one ball on each side, top of the pelvis, but on either side of the spine. So we're just going to hit kind of the other side of the muscle that is there. So setting the balls in, and then I tend to kind of clench my glutes here. So what I like to do is relax my butt to the ground to force myself to kind of relax on top of the balls. Similar to that area, this might be tender, just kind of hanging out here. And if that's the case, take a few breaths and try to let yourself relax on top of the balls. We will play with the pelvis here just for a moment. So slowly tucking the tailbone under, a gentle squeeze of the glutes, and then letting the glutes, the butt, rest back onto the ground. So just a small tuck, untuck. Take maybe one more. And then let's do, once again, a little scrub up and down, just a small little up and down movement, and see if it feels the same down here at the lower part of that muscle group as it does at the upper part. Can you still feel that left pretty intensely?
Yes, but it feels more malleable.
Feels more malleable. Okay. We can work with it a little better down here. All right, take it just another second to kind of scrub, just warming up that top layer of tissue. So maybe we can get a little deeper. All right, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull out the ball on the right side. You're gonna focus on your left. And we're gonna angle the ball into kind of the spine. So taking that left knee and dropping it open, so you're in a little half butterfly, let the pelvis tilt. And then essentially what you want to do is find the spot where the ball is angling in, kind of at a 45-degree angle to the spine, just above the pelvis. And you can move up, down, left, right to kind of find that kind of mass of tissue. Typically, you know, when you find it, it's pretty, it has a lot of feels for a lot of people. Did you get a spot?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So depending on how intense this is, because it is quite a deep muscle that does have a lot of feels, you can just breathe into it. And once again, focusing on that three-dimensional breath, sending the breath to the back side of the body, getting some internal movement as you press in from the external side. That is always a wonderful option, particularly if it's very, very sensitive. If you want to create some movement, because it seems like it's what your body needs, you can dig that right heel into the ground and come back to the scrubbing up and down. It can be a slow scrub. This muscle runs from the top of the pelvis up to the rib cage. So you can kind of cover that distance just a couple, maybe an inch or two at a time. as you're scrubbing up and down, if you find a spot that's slightly more sensitive, once again, you can just hang out on it and breathe. How you doing with that?
Good.
Okay.
I'm a new spot.
It's always one. All right, let's add just one more little bit. Let's do a little contract, relax. So if you think about a little side body chomp, pulling that rib cage towards the pelvis, pelvis towards the rib cage. So you're kind of crunching down around the top of the ball. You'll feel all those side body muscles turn on. Hold the contraction or a breath, and then slowly relax, release, let the contraction go. And then go through that contract, relax. Just a couple more times, pelvis to rib cage to pelvis, little side body chomp. And then relax and let that go. And maybe going forward one more. All right. So I'm going to give you the option to switch sides if you want to. Don't bruise yourself on this left side, but if you really want to spend some more time on it because it's angry, you're welcome to. But you can also switch sides and see if doing the other side perhaps helps this side relax a bit more. Sometimes it does. So same thing, you're right above the pelvis, just outside of the spine, dropping that right knee open, tilting the pelvis up so that that ball moves in at like a 45-degree angle to the spine. And, you know, move the ball up, down, left, right. Nobody's body's exactly the same, but you might find as you move the ball around a little bit, you'll probably find a spot that feels pretty tender, has some feeling to it. Once you find that spot, breathe into it. Notice if on this side it feels as bad as the other side. Maybe it feels, mine's not as bad on this side as it is on the other side. But I'll still breathe into it and give it a moment because it is a little tender. And when you feel ready, if you feel like movement, you can dig that left foot into the ground, create a little scrub up and down. Keeping in mind, and I'll say it again, the muscle runs from the rib cage to the pelvis. So you can work up and down that line just in little inch sections, or you can focus just on the lower part, just on the upper part, and work your way along that muscle. And then we did those side body chomps. So if you want to come into that little contract, relax technique, pulling the pelvis towards the rib cage towards the pelvis, activating all the muscles on that side, and then carefully releasing, relaxing. Maybe that'll allow the ball to sink in a little deeper, and you can go through the contract, relax technique again. Pulling the rib cage to the pelvis, pelvis to the rib cage. Hold the contraction for a breath and then relax, release. Taking just another breath or two to explore this side. And then when you're ready, we'll come off of that. Just stay on your back for a moment. Give yourself a second to kind of adjust. Those are postural muscles. So laying on the back, squeezing the butt a few times, just making sure you are okay. And then when you're ready, standing up, rolling onto the side, we'll bring ourselves up. We'll try a little forward fold. Come back and see how that feels. Feet about hip width distance apart, bend through the knees, fold forward. Get a sense for where that movement is at. I got a little bit extra. Feeling all the way up to the base of the skull, seeing if the tightness, mine was extending all the way up. See if any of that dissipated or let go. And then when you're ready, bring yourself up. We'll take a few squats, going up and down a few times, getting a sense for that range of motion. Christina's like, my squat is never inhibited. I can just squat all day.
I was like, wait, is this supposed to be active? Like, how do I do that?
It's a range of motion. It's really just range of motion to see if it opened up at all. Like to see if the bottom of your squat maybe feels a little easier.
Yeah, my low back definitely loosened up, but my whole upper half is still
tense.
Tender, a little tight.
Yeah. It's not surprising. It's okay, but we'll move through it. So let's come on up. We're gonna do some standing cat cows. And it's a little flash dancey, but just to change the orientation of your cat cow, I'm gonna stand kind of at an angle. Essentially what it is, let's focus on tucking that tailbone under and then really pressing that upper back behind you as you reach your hands away from you, coming into as much flexion as you can. And then when you're ready, you reverse it, take your cat, pull your hands back, squeeze the shoulder blades maybe together just a little bit, but not making it painfully. Tailbone sticks out behind you, rib cage juts out, creating as much extension as you can. And then we'll reverse it, coming back into our cat, tucking the tailbone under, reaching the hands away, creating as much flexion and holding for a breath, just to kind of focus on where we can create more flexion. And then reversing, tailbone goes out behind you, rib cage juts just a little bit, creating as much extension as you can. Let's go for one more at this angle, tucking under, reaching. And then when you're ready, coming back into that cat or cow, sorry, always mess that up. All right, and then we're gonna come back to neutral. So you're gonna take it at an angle now. So I'm gonna twist towards my left, just an upper body kind of twist towards my left. And then I'm gonna go through cat cow again. So at this angle, I'm gonna create as much flexion as possible, but it's gonna change the angle of stretch. Holding at the top of your cat to the best of your ability, creating as much flexion as you can, and then reverse it coming into extension. But once again, I'm still twisted. And then going back into your cat, we'll go through one more. Coming back into your cow. Coming through center, twisting the opposite way. So now I'm twisting towards the right. I'm gonna reach, find my cat. Holding for a breath, seeing if I can find any extra flexion anywhere. And then slowly moving into my cow. Still at that angle. And then reverse it. And then last one, coming into that cow position, coming back up through center, and then shake it off, let it go. Let's isolate, because of where your kind of tension was, let's isolate just the rib cage. So I'm going to put my hands here to denote where my rib cage is. So finding your rib cage, and sometimes it is nice to actually give yourself some sensory in that area. So it's like, this is the part I want to move. Now my pelvis is going to stay still, and I'm going to try to reach my rib cage off to the right, reach my rib cage off to the left. So a little side to side lateral deviation of the rib cage. Pelvis is still, the rib cage is moving on top of the pelvis to the best of your ability. You're not moving into pain, you're just moving to the point where maybe you feel a little stretch, maybe it just feels awkward and different. We'll take one more each way. And then we're going to take it front to back. So it's not a cat-cow, but it's a lateral shift of the rib cage, anterior shift of the rib cage. So it's a sliding of the rib cage forward and backwards. It's a tiny cat-cow, but that's not really the focus. The focus is on making that rib cage slide forward and slide backwards, creating movement at that juncture. Like I said, it doesn't have to be huge. It can be relatively small.
Barely moving at all.
Small for the win. And like for me, I can feel the left side of my rib cage wants to move a lot. The right side feels pretty, like it doesn't want to go as far.
Mine doesn't want to go back.
Back is hard, so that flexion. All right, so let's start at neutral and give yourself a little sensory right in that area. So reach your hand behind you and just kind of rub that spot. And then from that point, we're going to press back to the best of your ability and then just find neutral. And then press back and just find neutral. It doesn't need to be a full cat position, but can you make that T12 area, that juncture of low back to upper back move? And it's okay if the answer is just a little bit today, or that's really hard today. There's nothing wrong with that, but just noticing. Maybe taking one more. And then we're gonna go for a full movement here. So rib cage goes forward, side, back, side. Forward, side, back, side. So you're combining it all and creating a little circle with your rib cage. Little belly dancer move, but trying to make that rib cage move on top of the pelvis. And it's okay if it's more of a square instead of a circle. Like if it's I'm forward, I'm side now, I'm back, I'm side. There's nothing wrong with that. As you get kind of the movements down, then you can begin to smooth your square out, creating more of a circle with time. Looks pretty good. Does it feel okay?
Yeah, feels good.
Okay.
It's hard not to move my pelvis.
Not to move your pelvis or not to move your head?
Oh.
Both.
I can do this.
Everything can go with it. It's good. Okay, let that go. Relax that. And now we're going to switch and we're going to come to the pelvis. So we just did the rib cage. So now find your pelvis. And now our pelvis is going to move over beneath our rib cage. So we just did rib cage moving over pelvis. Now our pelvis is going to move over our rib cage. So the rib cage is still, the pelvis is moving side to side. Like the opposite of what we just tried to do. Some people touching your rib cage makes it easier. Some people touching your pelvis makes it easier. We're not going for the circle. We're just going for the, can my pelvis move left to right? Can it laterally deviate beneath my rib cage? And it's okay if the answer is no, that's really hard. That's okay too. Don't let it stress you out too much. So that looks like the hard one. You've got the rib cage down. The pelvis, it looks like it's hard for you to just kind of sway side to side. So there's something to kind of work on, finding that differentiation. Can my pelvis move independently of my rib cage? You've got the rib cage moving independently of the pelvis, but can your pelvis move independently of the rib cage? So working on that, there you go, that's getting better. Because you're a mover, you can eventually figure it out.
Feels a little tense though.
Feels tense, yeah. It's new, so that's, I mean, it's okay for it to feel tense, it's new. But something to work on, let it go, shake it off. And now let's come to the tuck and untuck. So I want just my pelvis to move. I like to place one hand kind of on the knees, my belly button, the other one on my sacrum. And I want to focus on reaching my sacrum, my tailbone down, and then reaching my pubic bone down. The goal is to not make this a huge kind of cat-cow thing. I want just my pelvis to move independently of my spine. Can I isolate that pelvic tuck and untuck from the rest of my spine? And it's okay if it's like, yeah, not today, but it's something worth trying if the upper back is really sore. There you go. It's like a small squeeze of the butt, small release of the butt. All right, let's take one more tuck, untuck. And then we're just gonna let that go. And we're gonna end with a little bit of rotation. So laying down on your mat or whatever you have, we're gonna find some rotation through the upper spine and then find some rotation through the lower spine. So laying down, I'm pretty sure you've done this one before. Pretty sure you have. We'll straighten through the right leg, straighten through the right arm. Left knee is going to stay bent. Left arm comes out to a T. You got a straight line on one side, and then all Jabberwocky on the other side. Going to press to the foot. That is the left foot, and that left arm is going to reach across the body. Big twist on the upper back, trying to keep the knee pointed up towards the ceiling. Inhale, you'll open it. Exhale, you'll press and reach. Avoiding the knee collapsing, try to keep that outer glute turned on. And once you have it, play with where you're reaching. Maybe you reach a little bit higher to see about that stretch. Maybe you reach a little bit lower to see about that stretch. Just play with where you're reaching to see where you get the best feel and the best movement out of it. For me today, kind of reaching down feels really nice on my upper back. We'll take just a couple more. And then when you feel ready, we'll switch sides. So we'll have a straight line on my left side. Right knee bends, right arm out to a T. pressing through that right foot and then reaching. Not reaching into pain, just finding a nice twist. Play with where the reach goes, maybe down towards the foot, maybe straight across the body, maybe up across. Finding the best stretch for yourself. On this side, kind of up and away feels good. We'll take just a couple more. And then we'll let that go. And we'll end with a twist on the low back. So bringing the feet up to a tabletop position, arms come out to a T. Only twisting so far that you can keep your upper body nice and relaxed. A twist towards the right. A twist towards the left. Once again, should not be painful, just finding a nice gentle twist. Maybe just one more each side. And then we will let that go. All right. There you go. You are so welcome. I hope it helped even a little bit. Thanks for coming. I'm covering for Jen the next 2 Sundays, and then we're back at the end of the month. So it'll be this one, then we'll have 2 Sundays off, and then we'll be back at the end of the month. But there's all the recordings online if you want to do them, even though live is better. The recordings are there if you want them. So
can I, you could stop recording whenever you're ready, but I was thinking maybe we could